Hi guys. So I wanted to do a video today about something that was sent to me from Cloak and the Dagger. I thought I'd just review one of the videos. He actually sent me two. Then he sent another that was about something that's going on TikTok. I thought we could just talk about a little of that. And then I also wanted to cover something that somebody else sent me. The same person who sent me the jazz videos, they sent me some different information about different things that people could do related to activism and who to reach out to in social media. So I thought these would be kind of some interesting things to look at, talk about. So let's get started. We'll look first at this video real quick. And this was kind of unbelievable to me. So this guy is called Sly Boy. Let me share my screen just a second here. Gotta remember how to do this stuff. I don't do it that often. Alrighty, share my screen. And it's this one right here. And the title of the video, that'll really get you, is How YouTube Protects Predators. Damned if they don't. And the subject matter is kind of shockingly similar to what we're dealing with here. I left a comment about the case. So let me turn my volume up a bit. So to give you the backstory from the other video, this guy is kind of whistleblowing on this woman named Katie who is promoting minor attracted persons and child grooming stuff. And he's having his content mass flagged and taken down all the time. So let's hear what he has to say. And just to make it really clear, I don't know a lot about the ins and outs of, how he was aware of this woman doing this. He mentioned in the other video the grooming of a 12-year-old. I don't know, I don't know the backstory too well, but if just taken at face value, what he's saying is true, similar to our situation, which we don't have to take for face value, we have ample evidence that it's true. Then, and he's said that he's fine with people sharing his content. But if what he's stating is true, then it is just unreal. And it's another example of how they really don't want to be held accountable for when they know something, doing something. We have case law already on the books that shows that they have that obligation. But, if you're not one of the victims and you're not criminally prosecuting them, if the prosecutors won't go after them that way, then these civil suits are hard. Ours is very unique, the one that I filed against them over Gaddis and Marina, because of the fact that, they did suppress so much of my content and of the content of others related to them, who all of us have shown them the evidence. And so they're doing everything knowingly. There are very specific laws on the books about that. And so it is a unique situation. We are also talking about crime, though. And what's really bad is that these criminals are not being gone after by the state, who could be prosecuting these companies. And, there are new laws coming to fruition that will include that type of thing, including going after them for things that happen to adults, not just children. But we already have the laws related to children, and they don't have the outs when it comes to them. But they still manage to get out of things because of, just the, bureaucratic red tape aspect of it where, well, you aren't the party that was harmed, so you can't bring this case, or, hiding behind Section 230 because of certain flaws in the petition, potentially, where they'll state, that it wasn't woven together properly about Section 1531 or whatever, things like that. But ultimately, someone's going to break through and get this done. But this was unreal. So let's just watch this together.
Small-time commentary YouTuber. I make videos about topics that happen to be interesting to me. All of that changed 24 hours ago. I am now a much more cynical, much more pissed off YouTuber with a bone to pick against some very particular people. So what happened 24 hours ago? Let me take you back. I posted a video titled Katie Cruz, the Christian Influencer. Apparently, I have to tread incredibly lightly with these words. This was an...
And also, since unlike Gaddis, who has told us in our face that he's a pedo, I don't know this Katie woman or that she is or isn't. So just make that little disclaimer that I'm just reviewing this video for educational and entertainment purposes.
Expose on a very public online predator who is an active influencer and activist who is attempting to normalize minor attractions. Now, I was colored surprised when I got a notification at 1 a.m. This video has been removed for violating YouTube's community guidelines. It looks like Katie Cruz, the Christian influencer, didn't follow community guidelines. To help keep our community safe, we removed it from YouTube. what we found. We think your content didn't follow our child safety policy.
Now, how many of you realize that, and remember, you know, that we've had our content taken down, those of us that make content about GOTUS, for like showing Diane's wounds. You know, if they were shown, they tried to say that it was shown in the wrong light, like to be shocking or disgusting. That's how they'll take things down that are graphic, which, you know, there is something to be said for that kind of stuff. I don't think that things like that should be on the internet either, if they are for the purpose of just, you know, gratuitous, you know, showcasing of something horribly violent or, you know, sick like that. But when you're showing wounds, you know, there's no way to show them but to show them. And this content, you do click a button that says it's not made for kids. And there are wounds all over the television. There are wounds in movies and there are wounds on YouTube. So it's selective how they've decided which wounds are going to be a problem. And we know who's flagging that content. And then they've also come after us with age warnings for me showing still shots of Jazz standing there in her like lingerie doing her pole dancing routine. But the actual video where she's got her booty cheeks right in the camera and spreading her legs and everything else, that's fine. There's no age warning on that video. You can go watch it at any age. I don't know if she still has it up, but back then you could. You know, YouTube didn't have a problem with any of her naked butt flapping videos, but they had a problem with us showing them. So yeah, waking up and seeing, oh, your content was removed because of blah, 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 you know, when the content that you're talking about that's doing crime on the platform, that they're like in his case, this girl is fine, but he's getting anything about her taken down.
Which was a surprise to me because I'm the good guy here. This video was 40 minutes long. It was very, very well researched. It was interesting. It had just enough humor to break the tension a little bit. And most importantly, nothing in here was anything more aggressive than you would see in a Chris Hansen takedown or one of the infinite other videos on YouTube exposing online predators. I submitted an appeal. It was rejected, which means that hypothetically, there's a real life YouTube employee who was like, no, this has got to go. I now have a shiny new scarlet letter on my channel, which is a community guidelines warning, which is bad because the next infraction is a strike. And if I get 3 of those, this channel gets Thanos snapped out of existence. Now, some of you who haven't seen the video may be thinking, okay, maybe this guy's misrepresenting the video. Maybe it was too aggressive. It wasn't advertiser friendly. But what if I told you I can show you exactly why this video got taken down? It has nothing to do with me not being a responsible YouTuber. It has everything to do with a coordinated effort of a community of maps taking down people's videos. This, what you're about to look at, is the culprit. Map support.
Okay, we'll look at that in a minute, but he's going to talk about here is really interesting and really disturbing. And I'll just say, like in our case, we have Gaddis Langston's inflating his numbers. Everybody that's been around him knows he does that. So how many real fans there are, who knows? But in terms of the core group that we know, I'd place it at about 10 to 15 actual people that have taken the time to get online and harass others on behalf of GOTUS and really, you know, feel that way about him still, knowing what we know. And he may have, of course, some fans that don't know what we know as well. But the core group of people that would get online mass flagging things, it's a small group, but in this case, it's a much larger group. But that large group of perverts are, you know, latching on to spaces like the one GOTUS has on Telegram. And that's who's doing this against this guy. So we'll see what he has to say here. And they're running amok. Really weird. Actual crime.
.de is one of many independent Mastodon servers you can use to participate in the Fediverse. This is a server of about 300 maps and map allies who coordinate on mass reporting campaigns for videos. Katie Cruz seems to be a very powerful figure in this community, and not but a few hours after my video was up, she sent her lapdogs after me. How do I know this? Here is a Blue Sky account that is a bridge for everything Katie Cruz posts on the map support server. This right here, going up a few hours after my video went up, mass report time. Would you look at that? There it is. There's my video. That's the URL. I'm not the first one to be a victim of this. A YouTuber by the name of Gone Fishing also faced this community's wrath recently. Team YouTube, why did you take down my video exposing for child endangerment. The timestamp given to me by YouTube for where my video supposedly violated their child safety TOS was 0 seconds. This video was mass reported, by the way.
You see that guy? So note that this guy had his video taken down at the 000 mark, which means the timestamp, there wasn't one. There wasn't anything probably wrong with the video. It was mass flagged. Now, you know, it might be a bot doing it at first, but later on, there's a human reviewer when you appeal, and they are upholding the perverts, just like in our case. Because at one point I did that. I thought, you know, this canned language, is this a person or a chatbot? And I asked, you know, am I speaking with a human or a chatbot who's reviewing what I'm saying here? And they told me they were a human. So the fact of the matter is that there are a few reasons you could say why they're doing this. One would be the one that a lot of people say, you know, just like when you watch MTV and there's demon shit everywhere and child freak crap everywhere. You know, YouTube is another corporation. They have headquarters in London and New York and California, and like Hollywood, this is just, you know, perverted shit. So I lean towards believing that as well. The flip side is there's something a little bit more just businessy and logical to it too, is that they don't want to ever be accountable to do something about things. So they, you know, push against making it look like they ever have to remove anything because anybody told them anything. They want it to be where even if they know they're not liable, they want to keep their liability even beyond the bounds of reason and decency. And they've been able to kind of get by with that for a while. That's coming to an end. But nonetheless, it's so bizarre to me, though. You could, you know, turn a blind eye to things or covertly get rid of bad stuff without making it look like you did it because you got a report. But they uphold reports from scumbags towards good, honest people. And that's the thing, that they don't have to do that. So that's what's so bizarre here. But note that the mass flagging triggered that, and there wasn't even a valid timestamp.
In question literally saying they are going to fake reports to get it taken down before the video even came out. When the video goes up, be sure to spam report it for child abuse, harmful/dangerous acts.
By the way, I just want to mention that mass flagging or fake flagging things or calls to action to do that are against the contract, and you are supposedly going to be taken off the platform if you do too much of that. So they also, you know, violate things there that could be added later on if we litigate, because that's gone on in our case as well.
The absolute fucking gall of the very people who do that shit. The gall of everybody involved here. Update on the Gone Fishing video. It seems the actual release date is going to be Thursday, which aligns with the release dates of the rest of his videos, the past few uploads. I will be posting any noteworthy information from Gone Fishing Discord server. Get ready to mass report the video when it releases. Hello, Team YouTube. Are you going to respond or just ghost me for another 5 hours and hope I forget you did this? Okay, once again, can you please provide me with a timestamp as to where this child safety violation occurred? You're just repeating the same thing over and over. By the way, I also did this when I appealed YouTube's warning on my channel. I wrote in there, please tell me exactly what was wrong here so that I can make another video about Katie Cruz and not do this again. I didn't get a response to that question. I understand, however, we don't have a specific timestamp since this is being reviewed by our internal. I hope you understand. We appreciate your cooperation with this matter. Is there anything else for now? So you can't tell me why my video is being taken down. What do you mean being reviewed by our internal? I don't care who's reviewing, constantly trying to spread her agenda, constantly trying to normalize minor attraction, but seems to have an absolute science down to removing the content of anyone who mentions her name. She's also a rabid doxer. In my video, I referenced the story and
Did y'all get that? A rabid doxer. So this is why this whole video jumped out at Cloak and the Dagger, because it's got the elements of the doxing, the child freak stuff, and the platform going almost out of their way to uphold any complaint from the freaks, but go against you to the point of using this ridiculous canned language even when you have a human reviewer towards people who you know, a very simple question would be why was the video taken down? And if there was a reason for it to be taken down that's legit, you would think they'd point you right to the reason that they have, you know, but they don't do that with our content. So
I had with a TikTok creator by the name of Riata. Riata had a pretty virulent back and forth with Katie Cruz last year. Katie Cruz attempted a fundraiser to sue Riata for defamation. That fundraiser got $545 out of a $25,000 proposed goal. In a very lengthy email to Riata, Katie says, for the past several days, I and my team have been compiling information about you with plans of doxing you out of vengeance. Later on, I asked that you remove the videos about Callie and me and post a video retracting your statements. If you really wish to protect children, you should be open to dialogue on how we can work together to prevent CSA. Now, Riata, at least, is on TikTok, so this stuff all stayed up. I think TikTok is a little better when it comes to this sort of stuff. YouTube, however, anything that even whispers Katie Cruz's name gets taken down. That's apparently how easy it is. If you have a server of 200 degenerate.
So notice, and what he's fixing to say there, that if you talk about these criminals who, it's a crime to promote child sex abuse. You got to realize you don't have to be actively abusing a child physically on video to be committing a crime. If you promote INCEST or that type of activity, or especially buying of other human beings and child human beings to do things to, you are already committing a crime. And they knowingly allowing you to promote that and especially get any money related to that. There are criminal cases right now against other platforms related to that exact thing. So he's citing here how they will take you down if you bring her up, but she's fine.
Degenerate scum that you can organize mass flagging campaigns. You can pretty much take down anything you want, regardless of who's in the right. And what's absolutely the cherry on top of this is that Katie Cruz and her band of munchkins post all of their map content on a website called Free Speech Tube. What the fuck? I would like to talk more about Katie, and I will. I will make another video about you, Katie. I don't care if I get a strike for it.
By the way, why is it not free speech to say something like that? Well, because, you know, freedom involves recognizing where your rights end and other people's begin. So children have rights. They have rights even against their own parents if their parents are no good pieces of shit.
For it. I know you're going to mass report it. I know you're going to mass report this video. You're probably going to go through my other content and mass report my other videos where I talk about predators. But here's the thing, Katie. I'm smarter than you. I'm better looking than you. And I don't like losing. So I'm going to win. This is you, by the way. This is you, by the way. I didn't want to throw out allegations without evidence. Now, as for the rest of you, if anyone is wondering how they can help with this, I just have two things to ask of you. One, if you cover this story or anything like that, please tag Team YouTube on Twitter. That seems to be kind of the only way that anyone ever gets anything done, which is kind of absurd. You might also want to take a look at my Twitter. I'm not going to say why. I'm not going to say why you might want to take a look at my Twitter.
And I'll put links to this guy's Twitter in the description.
I couldn't do that, but there might be some cool tweets you might want to check out. That's all I'll say. Secondly, steal my content, please. Like I said, that original video, 40 minutes, fantastic video. These other pred videos on my channel are probably in danger right now.
I think it would be cool, anybody that wants to do it, that makes content, to, you know, tag things about the GOTUS situation and tag Diane's channel in relation to this guy and what's going on here. If you want to like share his content, whether it be like what I'm doing is fair use, but you could just share the content. He's just gave an open statement that it's basically Creative Commons would be what that is. And you can use it however you want. So be cool to draw attention to this particular issue that YouTube is protecting predators and then bring up Diane's story.
Right now. Re-upload stuff that gets taken down, post clips, do whatever, I don't care. Anyway, thanks for engaging with this content. I'll see you soon, or not. Maybe I'll get channel struck and just disappear and you'll never see me again.
And that would happen to you quicker than it would happen to her, which is pretty disgusting. So that's interesting in light of our case, that other people are experiencing that same behavior from the platform. And that other platforms, notice how many people bitch about TikTok. And what I don't like about TikTok is like the short videos, the short attention span thing. And a lot of the content on there is super stupid. And on top of that, you know, it's like people are trying so hard to go viral. It's not really about making anything that's meaningful or good, but just, you know, also these trends where it's like they're coming at you, telling you what you're going to do on TikTok. It's not coming out of the people like something creative. That's what's annoying. When it's the opposite way, it's kind of a cool medium. A lot of people have talked about a lot of things like the war. There were a lot of people in war-torn areas that are filming what's going on where they live, things like that on TikTok too. So there's, TikTok is what you make of it. But one thing that I can say is that it's ironic that the Chinese-owned TikTok company, is something that seems to be taking protecting kids more seriously than we do. That's disgraceful. So we need to do something about that. Another thing I wanted to bring up is something that someone sent to me, and let me look at it and tell it to you. The same person who sent, but I can't show it because then I'd be showing their email, and they have always wanted to remain anonymous. The same individual who sent me the jazz videos, the live streams with the timestamps, they sent me this, and I sent them a reply. I sent them a reply a long time ago. They sent me this on the 10th of October. I replied to them on the 14th, but then I've been crazy busy, so I didn't get to actually do anything about it. And I had to do the objection, so I was more focused on that. So what they suggested is that there are some channels from America and then in Asia and Europe as well, and they've watched one of them, but they think from looking at what they're about, they could make videos about Spheria because they cover either true crime or stories about other rotten YouTubers. So if I know anyone who contacts YouTubers to request a video, pass them this list, they said. And so I'm going to put that list in the description box. They have a suggest a case form or an email, and they gave me a very large comprehensive list of those channels that do that. So that would be really cool. And there's a Belgian true crime podcast in there as well, but a lot of American links. There's also a Facebook group where they want to have suggestions for podcasts about true crime and other topics like this. So we'll go ahead and I'll leave that for you guys there. And then there are some channels that also don't provide an email specifically, but they might also be likely to make videos. So I'll section that out where you know which is which. But a couple of them are in the Netherlands, where particularly Gaddis and Marina want to hide content. There's also a YouTuber in the Philippines. We know at one time Gaddis wanted to go join Meat of the Matter in the Philippines, Prem. But so, just in case they ever happen to hop around in the Philippines, there's Asian and Malaysian YouTube channels that also do this that they sent me, and we know there's a likelihood of them being potentially in Malaysia or having been there. So we have a German one and French speaking. So all of that would be really awesome. And I also want to say thank you to them for creating such a comprehensive list for me. And I'll make sure to share that. There's also one called Paranormal Files. So they have a TikTok and a podcast that cover true crime. And then they do like YouTube, and I guess they cover paranormal stuff on YouTube. So you might head over to TikTok. They gave me a ton of TikTok links. And there's also an American TikToker called Ashley that they wrote to me a lot of stuff about how she covers true crime content. But she wants to get permission from the victim or the victim's families. So we know that, Diane would certainly be fine with anyone that wants to share her story. We know that a couple of months before October, Jazz removed all of her videos. So these people are such cowards. They're real brave when things are, going their way or they think they are. And that's kind of how evil is. It's a type of brevity that's pathetic. Real brevity is just doing what you know is right, regardless of whether you happen to be in the winning zone at the moment or not. You're going to do it regardless and not care. But these people, they try to play badass, but they're very affected by whether it works. If it's not working, the games they're playing, they panic and they flee. So that's what you're seeing happen with them. And right here, they tell me that one thing you might want to do whenever you put in Diane's, whenever you're looking for a new Diane video or something, is to type in Lundy Forest acid attack survivor to get that in the algorithm, because I think it might cause things to pop up and be suggested over other things. So I don't know if that's correct or not, but they were wondering that, and I wonder as well. I don't really know, but I think that makes sense. So it might be good to do that. And there's also some news article links. I'll post those as well. And I want to say thank you to people that have done that kind of comprehensive work and, don't even want their ego strokes or anything. I think that's amazing. So yeah, I just thank everybody for tuning in, and I will do something next week. Maybe just something to draw attention to things, but be, more campy or whatever. But that is really interesting. And anywhere we can spread the word, please do so. And I say bye for now. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.